السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. ازيكم يا شباب، عاملين ايه؟ Today إن شاء الله we will start in the first lesson in introduction of thermodynamics. The first lesson you will find it in your student book, government student book for the official schools, Egyptian official schools, المدارس التجريبية in page 108 and 109. For IGCSE students you will find it in the How Fast chapter. You will find it in page 174 and 175. For as level students you can find this lesson in page 97. Today inshallah we will start together to define what is the meaning of thermodynamics. At first we must know that thermodynamics is a word consists of two parts. The first part is thermo, means heat. The second part is dynamics. Dynamics means motion. So we are talking about motion release heat or motion use heat. So we are talking about heat change related to motion in the compound. So we can say that it is the definition of thermodynamics. We can say that we can measure the heat content of the compound, but we cannot measure the heat content or the enthalpy of single compound. For example, if I start to give you sample of food salt and I told you start to measure its heat content as single substance, it is impossible to measure the heat content of sodium salt alone. But we can measure the heat content of the substance if we start to dissolve it in water. By dissolving the substance in water, we will have increase or decrease in the heat of the reaction. According to the increase or decrease in the heat of reaction, we can say that we have change in the enthalpy or a change in the heat content of the substance. According to the change in the enthalpy or change in heat content of the substance, we can calculate the heat content of the substance. And of course, if we start to enter our substance in chemical reaction, it will be so easy to calculate the heat content or the enthalpy of the substance. So it is the definition of thermodynamics and how we can calculate the heat content or enthalpy change of substance. We can say that the enthalpy or heat content is the total chemical energy of substance. The total chemical energy of substance is divided into two main parts. The first part is the kinetic energy or motion energy. The kinetic energy or motion energy is separated into three main parts. The first one is vibration energy. The second one is rotation energy. And the third one, translation energy. In translation energy, the particles will translate from one position to another position. In potential energy depends on the attraction between particles. We have two types of attraction inside the molecules. The first one is intermolecular attraction. It is the attraction between molecules. And intramolecular attraction, it is the type of attraction inside the molecule. Usually, the value of potential energy, the force of attraction, is less than the value of kinetic energy. So when we start to measure the temperature is defined as the average change in the kinetic energy of the compound. By measuring the temperature, we can say if the compound is hot or cold. We can measure the temperature of the compound by using a thermometer. Of course, in the lab, we can use thermometer for measuring the temperature of the compound or temperature of chemical reaction. So, the heat content or enthalpy, it is the total chemical energy of the compound. mainly we are caring about the kinetic energy, not the potential energy, because potential energy value is very low. And temperature, it is the average change in the kinetic energy of the compound, not the potential energy. We can measure it by thermometer. Now we will start to know that we can calculate if chemical reaction contains enthalpy change. The enthalpy change in chemical reaction is delta H. Delta H for any chemical reaction enthalpy change, we will have two examples of chemical reaction. The first one is the photosynthesis reaction, the second one is the respiration reaction. The photosynthesis reaction, it is the reaction of plants. It is reaction inside the plant in which we start to use carbon dioxide and water and sunlight energy. So we start to take energy to complete the reaction. In photosynthesis reaction, we will have glucose C6H12O6 plus oxygen. We have an opposite reaction to photosynthesis reaction. It is known as respiration reaction. Take care, respiration reaction, it is an example of burning reaction, types of reaction which produce energy. This type of burning reaction, complete burning reaction, outside human body usually produce carbon dioxide plus water. So we can say that when glucose reacts with oxygen, will have carbon dioxide and water plus amount of energy. So we are talking about two reversible reactions. One of them will start to use energy and the other will start to produce energy. There are two types of chemical reaction. Now we will start to talk about the first law of conservation of energy. The first law of conservation of energy says that the energy cannot be destroyed. We cannot destroy energy. We cannot lose it forever and cannot be created. But just we can convert energy from one form to another form. For example, heat energy can be converted. Electrical energy can be converted in heat energy into iron. Electrical energy also can be changed into kinetic energy or motion energy in robots. And at last, we can say that kinetic energy inside the compound can be converted into the heat energy in chemical reaction, like for example combustion reaction or burning reaction. Now we will start to know together if we have any chemical change or physical change in any chemical reaction. The chemical change or physical change is usually partner to change in energy. Change in energy will occur between two parts. The first part is the system, the second part is the surroundings. A system, it is a part of universe in which we have a chemical reaction or physical change. For example, a test tube inside the lab, it is the best example for the chemical reaction. The second one, of course, the factory. In factory, we will have change in energy inside system. System will lose energy to the surroundings or accept energy from the surroundings. The surroundings is everything around the system, and outside the system borders we can say it is the surroundings. So now we know the definition of system and the definition of surroundings. Now we will start together to define types of systems. We have three different types of systems. The first type is an open system, a closed system, and an isolated system. At first, an open system, it is a type of systems in which we have transfer to substance and transfer to energy between the system and surroundings. So we have transfer of substance and transfer in energy between the system and the surroundings. It is the definition of open system. The second one is closed system. It is type of systems in which we have transfer in heat only or energy only between the system and the surroundings. So in the case of closed system, we have transfer in energy only between the system and the surroundings. The last type is isolated system. An isolated system, we can say that it is type of systems in which we have no transfer in heat, no transfer in substance between the system and surroundings. So there is no change in the heat content of the system. We can say that an isolated system, it is type of system in which we have constant amount of energy. It is type of systems in which we can say there is no change in its heat content even if we have energy change from one form to another form. So we can start to say that the first law of conservation of energy is, or say that the energy cannot be destroyed, energy cannot be created, and energy only can be converted from one form to another form. In another way, we can say that the first law of conservation of energy said that if the system loses energy, the surroundings will accept energy with equal value. And if the system accepts energy, the surroundings will lose energy with equal value. So we are talking about losing energy and accepting energy between the system and the surroundings is reversible and equal process. Or we can say they are two opposite processes. So we can say that delta E of system, total energy of the system, equal and reverse delta E, total energy of the surroundings. I hope that you enjoy our lesson today. I hope that you understand the meaning of the thermodynamics. I hope that you understand the first law of conservation of energy. I hope that you know that the enthalpy change or heat content, it is the measure of mainly kinetic energy inside the compound. And we cannot measure the heat content of single substance without entering it in chemical reaction or physical change. At last, I want to tell you, you must take care and study hard. Don't be afraid from fail, but you must be afraid if you don't try. Thanks for your time very much. In the next lesson, inshallah, we will start to talk together about the exothermic and the endothermic reaction. Take care. We want to have your support and we want to have like and share from you. Don't forget to give us subscribe. Thanks for your time and see you soon. Assalamu alaikum.